All right, guys, today we'll be covering Unit 4, Lesson 9, More and Less Than 1%. The lesson first starts off with a warm-up called What Percentage? It says, determine the percentage mentally. 10 is what percent of 50, 5 is 1%, what percent of 50, 1 is what percentage of 50, and 17 is what percentage of 50. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of modify this problem, or I'm not going to say kind of, I am modifying this problem. What we're going to do is we're going to solve the last one mentally. And I'm going to show you guys how to solve the other three mathematically, okay? And I want you guys to pay attention because I'm going somewhere with this, all right? So if you're at home, we're on page 56, so on page 56. So if you have your book, you could turn to page 56. Make sure you get there so you can work with me. All right. So what I'm doing is I'm partitioning this empty area into 3 sections. And I do that by drawing 2 lines. Okay. So I'm going to write down this, what percentage of 50. I didn't really focus on this in our last lessons, but I'm going to show you guys something called proportion tables. And proportion tables is over of, percent over 100. And sometimes you could see it like this, part over whole, percent over 100, okay? So let's jump into it. I'm going to explain this whole concept to you guys, so make sure you guys pay attention. Okay? So the question is asking 10 is what percentage of 50? Okay? So what's missing is the percentage. So if I had to use the proportion tables for this one, the first one, which let's annotate in red. So the first one is going to be red. Second one I'm annotating in blue. And the next one I'm going to annotate, let's do pink. I don't want to do purple, but I'm going to do pink. Let's do a darker pink so you guys can see. Ooh, that pink's too dark. I'm sorry about that. There we go. There we go. Okay. So let's look at this. All right. So it said 10 is what percentage of 50. So the percentage is missing in this portion of this problem. Okay. So we could use a variable. We could leave it empty. It doesn't matter. But regardless of what, leave it blank or don't put a number there. And 100 is already understood because all percents, the maximum percent you go up to is 100, okay? Now, we'll get to percentage increase and decrease in a different lesson, but today, that's the max percent is 100. 100% represents one whole, okay? So it says 10 is what part of 50? So they're saying 10 is what percentage of 50? So looking at that verbiage, 10 will go at the top. 10 will be the numerator and 50 would be the denominator. Okay? So if you had a teacher last year that taught you percentages or taught you these proportion tables, I've heard teachers say this is the butterfly method. Some teachers said this is the high heel method. So I'll show you guys the high heel method, which is I'm going to cross multiply and I'm dividing by the number in the box. All right. So 10 times 100 is 1,000 over 50. So now I have my fractions, and if you guys know this trick, you know that you could scratch out the zeros. Okay, so now we have 100 over 50, okay? Not 50, I'm sorry, 100 over 5. Okay, so 100 divided by 5 is 20, therefore 10 is 20%. of 50. Okay? So now let's move on to the next one, which I'll be using blue. It says 5 is what percentage of 50? Okay? So now I'm going to use my proportion tables. Remember, 5 is the is, 50 is the of. So it's going to be 5 over 50 equals percent over 100. I'm going to do the same method. I'm going to cross multiply, and I'm dividing by the number that's in the box. So 5 times 100 is 500 divided by 50. So if you guys know the trick, you can scratch out the zeros. And the reason why we're just scratching out the zero, that's indicating that we divided both numbers by 10. Okay, we divided both numbers by 10. All right. So now I have 50 over 5, and 50 over 5, or 50 divided by 5 is equal to 10, which, oops, I'm sorry about that. In our proportion tables and so on, that would be 10%. Okay. So the next one, I said I would use pink, and here we go. I'm going to use like a kind of distinct pink. Let me use a lighter pink. Okay. So 1 is what percentage of 50? So just like we said, 1 is, 50 is the of, and let's go 1 over 50 is equal to, and the percent is missing, times 100. So then when I cross multiply and I divide by 50, so it's going to be 100 divided by 50. Just like I told you guys, you could scratch out the zeros. And now I have 10 divided by 5. If you guess that 10 divided by 5 is 2, you are absolutely correct, which is indicating that this is 2%. Okay? So now it's telling me to solve this last one. And I promise you guys that I'm going to solve this one mentally. Okay? So I want you guys to kind of like understand this. I really understand this, okay? This says, guess, like, what is 17% of 50? All right, let me scroll up. And I'm breaking this one all the way to the bottom, okay? So, I have 10%, I have 5%, I have 1%, okay? Not 10%. I have 20%, 10%, 2, 10, 5, 1, okay? 17, and I'm going to break it down. I could take 10 from 17, right? If I take 10 from 17, it would give me, I'm going to break this. Let me erase this because I want y'all to get it. Here we go. I could take 10 from 17, and 10 was what percentage of 50? If you guess 20%, you are absolutely correct. So once I take 10 from 17, I have 7 left over. But I could also take 5 from 17. How about this? How about I use the color so you guys could associate it with the percentages that we used earlier. So I could take 10, which would be 20%, because that's what we said. 10 is 20% of 50, okay? For the next one, which is blue, I could take 5 from 17 because I have 7 left over. I could take 5 from that 7, and 5 was 10%, okay? Now what's left over is 2, and I could break 2 down to 2 sets of 1. And we said 1% was 1, not 1%, but 1 is 2% of 50, okay? So if I was to add these numbers together, it would equal 17. So therefore, if I was to add the percentages together, it should give me what percent is 17 to 50, okay? So 20%, 10%, 2%, 2%, And it should give me, let me write it down, 34%. If I wanted to check my answer, I can use the proportion tables, which let's check our answer so I can prove to you guys like this is a kind of like a good way to solve it, like using your mental math. It makes it easier. So here we go. 17 over 50. And then blank over 100. I'm going to use the high hill method still. Okay. And I should get 1,700 or 1,700 divided by 50. I could scratch out the zeros because that's like me dividing by 10 or reducing the fraction by 10. And now I have 5. So how many times could 5 go into 17? 5 could go into 17 3 times, which is 15. Oops, it's supposed to be 2 left over. Let me make that a little bit neater because neat work makes the best work. So how many times could 5 go into 20? And 5 could go into 24 times, which therefore it is 34%. Okay? All right, guys. Well, I hope you guys make sure you watch this video before trying to complete that warm up on your own, guys. Or if you've already completed the warm up, make sure you check your answers and so on. Hopefully, this gives you more clarification. Okay. So I'll see you guys in the next problem.